And one. Hi, everyone. Welcome to eLearnChat, where talk, it's knowledge. And today we've got two talkers with us today. In the top position over there, you'll see Tracy Goodwin. Not only is she a talker, she teaches you how to talk better. And we'll talk with her in a moment. And underneath the Emma Peel of e-learning, who else but Leslie Price? And she's with us back from a little bit of an absence. And if you notice, her house got redone. It's finished. And we're all very, very happy for her. So here's our intro, and then we go. And we are back. Now, we're going to be showing you a quick link to our friend, Chef Charles Carroll. He has there we go. He's got a new website called The Recipe. And it's a podcast. And in it, they talk all about their new book, which is coming out, called The Recipe. You've got to buy that book. We're not getting paid to say that. We love the chef. We love John David Mann, who helped write it with him. It is a wonderful book. I know Leslie and I have both had the pleasure of reading this book. It's well worth it. It should be one of those required reading kind of books. So we're glad to have you go. We'll have in the show notes or in the screen, we'll have a link to his website. So please check it out. And the book will be out, I think, October 17th, if I'm not wrong, or 18th. It'll be out soon. And getting back to today's day at hand, we've got with us Tracy Goodwin. And Tracy, how have you been?
I'm good. How are you? It's good to see you again.
We are great. And yes, we saw you, I think it was either end of December or beginning of January. We had lunch with you, and it was just wonderful seeing you and hanging out for a while.
It was, and I can't believe it's been that long.
Can you believe it? Almost 10 months.
No,
it has been 10 months. Yeah. Time flies. It flies too fast. We got to get together again.
Old age.
Yep, that's
true.
No.
I'm not having that.
Yeah. And Leslie Price is joining us. And how are you today, Leslie?
Well, I'm thoroughly enjoying the fact that my house has now been finished, and even better, 3 weeks ago I celebrated my 60th birthday. So there is life after 60. 60 is the new 40.
You look marvelous, my dear. You don't look 60.
Well, I am.
You
I'm proud.
So, let's talk a little bit. Tracy, what have you been up to? First of all, Tracy has a business, and it's called Captivate the Room, and that's her website, captivatetheroom.com. And she does a great job coaching people, teaching people how to use their voice, how to present better. And that's a skill. That's a rare skill to have, and people have a very big need for that. We were talking pre-show. You're going to be in England soon doing a seminar for business executives.
I am. I don't have all the total scoop, but I'm super excited.
Skype did not like her being excited. It froze her.
Yeah.
She'll be back.
Coming over there and doing a 3-day workshop. I'm going to try to start doing more workshops and speaking live again. I went down in August and spoke at Podcast Movement. It was just so great. I just loved being live again. I mean, the internet is great, and I have clients all over the world. I mean, we're on internet right now, but there's just nothing like being in the room live.
No, and you've got a great personality. You're bubbly. You're energetic. So I can see why you would probably enjoy being live. People would really have a good time listening to you and learning. So I could definitely see that.
Thanks. It was fun. It was really good. And they had me in a big ballroom with noise beyond noise. And I thought, okay, this is a trick. This is a trick to see if I can really use my voice.
And how'd you do?
I did great. I actually had a client. This was the coolest thing. I had a client from Brazil who I worked with while he was in Portugal, and I'm here. He was there. And so I got to meet him live, and he said, "Oh my gosh, I can hear you all the way across the room." So it went really good. It was really, really fun.
Now, when you're always here, we always like to see how you analyze people's voices because you're really good at it. And Leslie over there is the willing victim this time.
Am I?
You didn't give me a heads up on this, Rick.
No.
You didn't give me a heads up either.
No, that's more fun just doing. No, Tracy's very good at just listening a little bit and saying, okay, here's what I hear, here's what I see. And Leslie loves to talk. So I figured that would make an interesting thing. And she's been talking her whole life. She's been a teacher, she's been a presenter, she's a developer, an instructor, blah, blah. She's done all sorts of stuff. And I have a feeling Leslie used to do acting and singing, but she won't admit that. But you did, didn't you?
Skype froze again.
Oh.
To give you a bit of background, when I was very young, we lived in Glasgow. And in Glasgow at that time in the late 1950s, early 1960s, you picked up a very broad accent. I suppose from an American point of view, you would think of it as being Billy Connolly, because he is probably the most famous Glaswegian. And when I went to school, my mother just said, "You're not fitting in, Leslie." So she sent me to elocution lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to elocution lessons from when I was about 5 or 6 till I was about 9 or 10. And it wasn't just about how you spoke and how you enunciated. It was also about how you expressed yourself. So the poem I remember was an A.A. Milne poem about, "I met a puppy when I went walking. We got talking, puppy and I. I said to the puppy as he went by," and that still sticks in my head. And all the time when I've been a lecturer, the lessons that I learned from when I was 5 to 10 years old with this crazy old lady who stood in front of us trying to teach us how to enunciate and how to express, honestly, have really stuck in my head. And I then passed that on to my children. And so I'm actually genuinely really interested in how you use that in learning, because I've used it, or how you use it generally, because I know I've used it in learning.
Was I analyzing then, Rick?
Only if you want to.
Be analyzing then?
You can now feel free to criticize me.
Oh, no. It's interesting. I love what you said. And I think that is so wonderful that your mother did that for you. And I think, it's funny when I work with people all over the world, and I'll get someone from Scotland or Australia or the UK or really anywhere in the world, and they have these beautiful diphthongs and this beautiful language, and I love it so much. And what I discovered about, 15, 20 years ago is that the type of work that I do is actually quite different, because it's based on the fact that I can hear everything. I didn't realize I was a voice intuitive until about 10 years ago. I thought everybody could hear the things that I hear. So while my introduction into voice work started many, many, many years ago. It actually started when I was raised in a family where I was not allowed to even speak. The irony. My initial teachings were more elocution based. They were more technical. They were all about placement. But now where I really laser target is in voice barriers, because people have voice barriers. They're the bulletproof glass that the audience hears, the customer hears, that keeps them from connecting and ultimately can keep them from buying. And so it's really shades and
Skype strikes again.
Yeah.
That's what I hear, but I also believe that because there's five senses. And I think that we leave money on the table big time because we don't play the full orchestra.
Now,
And if we have a barrier that says asking for permission or I need to prove something, that is a push element and that repels people. Okay, Rick, I'm sorry, I got on a tangent.
Well, no, I was just going to ask you what.
So what's your analysis then? Because one of the things that I was taught was that you have to pause. You can't talk too quickly. And generally, if I'm in conversation with you in a room, I would be chat all the time. But because we're on a show, because we're in a different environment, I tend to enunciate my words more carefully. I tend to almost listen with phrasing in between, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely. And what's really interesting about, and you know, it's this, and it's not criticism. I don't look at my work as criticism at all. In fact, all of my people say, this is next level. This is, you know, I mean, I've got these network people out here, these TV actors, even my business people, it's next level, you know. So what's fascinating about you is that from having worked and studied dialects and taught dialects and removed dialects my whole life, you don't go fast, super fast, like most Scottish people I've known. Now, maybe when you're in conversation, you might go faster, but what my work is all about, and this is where you can create a greater unpredictability. People come to me all the time.
Once again, Skype strikes.
Right. Yeah. And it's not me, Rick.
Nope. She's in LA, close to us.
Oh, it's crazy.
Did I miss something?
Yeah, you actually got cut off for about 20
Skype.
seconds.
It's just Skype being the crap Skype that it is.
Froze you. It's wonderful.
Oh, okay. Am I still frozen?
No, you're good now.
No, you're fine now, my lovely.
So when people come to me and they say three things: I'm not captivating, I'm not confident, and I can't make connections. What is captivating? What is captivating? Captivating is unpredictability. And so what happens is, because of what I teach, psychology of the voice, we lay this stuff in starting when we're 5. The subconscious mind lays it in, so we develop these patterns. So while your articulation and while your voice is beautiful, something that would take it to even the next level is if we started playing with the shades and nuances of fast, slow, and loud, soft. Because when the minute we become predictable with a cadence, with a pattern, with a go-to, which everybody has, the minute that happens, every 90 seconds our brain tells us to check out. So our audience will establish that pattern, and then when that 90 seconds comes in, they can check out. So to become even more captivating, you take me on more of a journey. And so you can get a little faster and you can get a little slower, all working within that core.
Right. I'm watching you now, okay? And as well as talking with your voice, you're also, even though you wear specs like me, you're also talking with your eyes, and you're also using your hands. And to me, certainly when I was teaching and now when I present, I think all three things connect together. It's not just about your voice, it's also about your eyes, and it's also about the way that you express yourself with your hands. Have you any comment on that? Sorry.
She does, but she's frozen in space right now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely a mind-body-voice connection. It's definitely a mind-body-voice connection. And for many, many people, they get up in their head. And when they get up in their head, it's all about the words. And the words are everything and they're nothing. It's how you bring them to life that changes people.
You know,
So
it's interesting,
I would definitely
Tracy.
agree.
And Tracy, it's interesting. I remember for about a year I did a seminar thing or a webinar training thing for Adobe on how to make your podcasts, your presentations more engaging. And what do you have on a webinar? Nothing but your voice. You're not on video. You're talking usually to some sort of screen with content. How do you get people interested? You have to modulate. You've got to go slow, like you said. You've got to go a little faster. You've got to get excited and do things that are totally unpredictable, or you won't engage them at all. It's the same exact idea, and they should get you on there. You should actually do a series for Adobe. You'd be great, because it is about your voice. It's about how you use it, what you do with it, and you know, what's that old saying? When people call you up on the phone, they can tell when you're smiling, even though they can't see you. But also, what's the difference between, for example, a very good salesperson and a crummy one? The salesperson not only knows how to listen, but they have very good control of their voices in terms of giving someone comfort, assurance, trust, that whole thing. And that's a skill set too. Like you said, Tracy, it's all about voice.
Well, and that's why I love working with podcasters so much. You know, after I did that presentation down
Skype again.
Maybe Skype is really skip.
Yeah.
because there was this concept that I'm behind the mic and I've got to be on and I've got to push and I've got to do this because they can't see my face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's, loud is the weakest tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I love that. I should call Adobe up. Give me their number.
I know some people there. I'll see if I can connect you.
The other person I would actually like to connect you with, Tracy, is somebody called Joe Cook. I don't know if you've come across Joe Cook. She's known on Twitter as @LightBulbJoe, and I would say she is probably the UK's expert in live online learning facilitation. And the way that she uses her voice is just phenomenal. And I think that you and she would have a great, especially if you're coming to the UK, I think you and she would have an awful lot to talk about and to share.
Yeah, her name sounds familiar. I'm going to look her up on Twitter when we're done.
Yeah. At LightBulbJoe.
Yeah, that's very familiar to me.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down.
And I would say in the UK, she's probably one of the best people who does training around live online learning facilitation. So webinars, virtual classrooms, everything in that genre, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, very cool. I'll have to reach out, look her up and reach out.
Yeah. Sorry,
No.
Rick, I'm just being a Leslie again.
No, that's good. And Tracy, just so you understand, a lot of the audience here tends to be trainers, they're professional speakers, managers, people involved with education for the most part, mostly adult education, and or corporate training. It's probably our biggest audience. What would you say one of the biggest problems? So let's try to narrow it down to what's the biggest problem most people have when they're talking to other people?
Well, I could tell you the thing that is the biggest thing, but I don't know that it's the best thing to say in this moment, but the majority of people have their sound stuck. And so if your sound is not flowing out, for many, many people, their sound is not flowing out, it can't cross the room and touch my heart. So you'll get somebody in there talking like this, the sound is stuck down in their jaw. Am I affecting you now? Because I'm holding it in my jaw.
Right.
Do you see? And that's been laid in. So that's like a foundation problem. That's like buying a house and there's a cracked slab. But I think that for many, many people, it is perception versus reception. What they perceive in their head they're putting out is really big, because it's beautiful up there, for many people. And it's coming out like banana, 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 banana. And someone's being received.
Yeah.
So it's bold choices. People have to make bolder choices. And it's funny when I work with people, and all my people are analytical, I'll say, I want you to really go crazy on that. And they do, and they're like, oh my gosh, that was ridiculous. And I'm like, that was so good. That was so good. And it's that perception, reception, and those bold choices, that fear of judgment, that psychology of the voice. So I think bold choices is probably a really good one to talk about.
Yep.
Now, I would actually 100% agree. I would 100% agree that people don't generally, and I'm one of the 99% that would say, I absolutely hate hearing myself speak. So if you play back a recording of me speaking, even though I've done a really good presentation, and even though I've been told, oh, you nailed it, Leslie, you cracked it, you did it, I go, oh no, I did this, I did that, I could hear this. I'm my worst critic.
Yeah, a lot of people cannot stand the sound of their voice, for sure. Something else I just thought about, Rick, that might be really good for your audience, because I hear this from so many people. I go fast to keep the audience's attention. Here's the thing. Speed is never going to be the element that keeps their attention. So I hear that from a lot of people, and it goes back to that cadence, just doing slow, just doing fast. We've got to have those shifts to have that journey.
Yeah. And I think also when you're talking, to be able to connect with the audience so that you find the little nuggets that they're interested in, and so you relate also to that, so that they're not thinking, oh my God, this is just another piece of rubbish that I'm listening to. You find something in what you're saying, so as well as a tone of voice, you've got a little bit of context. To me, it's not just the content, it's the context that is king. And if you get the context and the content and the tone of voice right, wow, what a winning recipe you've got there.
Yeah, for sure. No, you have to tap into the message. And that's one of the things that people get bogged down in, is they get bogged down in the script, they get bogged down in the words, and they don't trust that the words will be there for them. And if they connect to the message and they bring the message to life, then it doesn't matter. I use this silly example all the time. I say, I really love chocolate pie, because I do. It's my favorite thing in life. And I can't find good chocolate pie in California. And so I have to bring...
I don't even know what chocolate pie is.
It's good. It's good, Leslie.
Oh, you know what, chocolate pie? Oh, chocolate pie is phenomenal. So I really love chocolate pie to life. You don't have to like pie. You could like beer. You could like pizza. But how I bring those words to life, the right words, the right way I say it, if I touch your emotions, then you're going to line your beer train right up next to my pie train or your pizza train. And we're going to go down the tracks together, right? That's the way it works. I can't believe you've never had chocolate pie. You got to get over here.
We don't
Leslie.
have it in the UK.
Oh my gosh. No chocolate pie.
No. But have you had Scottish ice cream?
No, I have not.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it must be good, though.
It's fabulous.
Okay, I'm in. What is Scottish ice cream?
Oh, Scotland has a great tradition of immigration. And an awful lot of Italian immigrants came into Scotland during the late 1900s, early 20th century. And when they came with them, they brought the recipe for ice cream. So when you go into a cafe, a good cafe in Scotland, they have made their own ice cream from traditional Italian recipes. And it's not like Walls or Mr. Whippy or any crap that you buy from the supermarket. It is proper ice cream.
Sounds good. Gelato. It's
good.
gelato.
And I can
Scottish
imagine
style.
it being tasting delicious on the side of chocolate pie.
Oh, for
Probably
sure.
would.
For sure.
So Tracy, what are
Sorry, so can I just ask another question,
Sure.
Tracy?
Sure.
Have you ever worked with young people, so like 16 to 18-year-olds?
Yes, a lot. I have to run a lot of classes
to
for them.
me, that group is a group that a lot of them who maybe haven't achieved in school and then come into our community colleges, that is a group I worked with a lot. And I think teaching them how to use their voice, I personally felt great achievement from doing that with them, because it almost suddenly gave them a route to employment. I know it sounds crazy, but when they were then going for interviews or describing what they did, if they could use their voice properly rather than the way they would use their mates or their pals, that changed their whole job prospects.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. And that market for me is probably the people who have moved here from other countries. I work with a lot of people from India and Mexico and Asia, and I think that it's almost the same. I mean, it's not the same thing because the others are 16 to 18, and that's a wonderful group, and I absolutely agree with you. But I see the same thing in many, many ways. I work with a lot of people from India, and it just puts them on a different trajectory, you know, and they want to work so hard. So yeah, everybody needs to do this kind of work. Everybody just doesn't realize the doors that it could open if they did. Is the problem.
So it's not just about how to achieve in high corporate learning. It actually comes from what young people or immigrants can also then achieve by using their voice, and not necessarily by changing their accent, because I've still got a very strong Scottish accent. So you can still be you, but you can also learn to use your voice.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Tracy, what other work have you been doing lately? I know you're always involved in something new and some different activities. What's current on your plate?
I am, Rick. I'm always stirring something up down here. I'm surprised you don't hear about it up there where you are. You're far enough out.
Just far enough.
You don't
Just
hear
far
what
enough.
I'm doing down here. I keep it quiet. Well, I'm doing the usual. I work with a handful of actors on network shows here. And then I work with a handful of actors in a class. But really, I'm just I work with my people one-on-one. I'm always working with people one-on-one all over the world. But probably the thing I'm most excited about, and I don't even know if you knew I had this, I just hit 100 episodes on my podcast. And I'm loving my podcast. Talk about a learning channel. I'm getting 30,000 downloads a month, which is not massive in the podcast world, but it's just such a joy for me. And so I've actually been working with a lot of podcasters and working with people who want to start podcast because they know what a powerful avenue that is for their message.
Yeah, that's great.
You call it podcast. A lot of the younger people that I know would, talk about vlogging rather than blogging. Do you put that in the same category?
But blogging is video. I'm talking like podcast on iTunes.
Yeah,
No
but then
video.
they record it.
Right, but it's more the vocal broadcast where they're pretty much no video, just sound.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people, actually that is the way right now where they're finding it very popular to do a video and an audio and then take that and turn that into a blog post. The studies on that are actually pretty good. But no, I was just really talking about just getting in front of the microphone and doing podcasts like we did for years before, like when podcasting first came out, before we started adding in the video bit. And I actually haven't even added it in yet. But a lot of people that are doing podcasts are, and they're really repurposing that, which is great.
It is good. And for all those who are interested, Tracy now lives in the Southern California area, and your website is still www.captivatingtheroom.com. You have another website, don't you? I thought you did. Or am I wrong?
Do I? I maybe used to.
Maybe you used to.
No,
Maybe.
just Captivate the Room.
Captivate
That's
the
it.
Room.
Yeah.
I checked out today, and that was the one I looked at, and I was looking. I listened to some of your. I did actually listen, or I did listen to what you were saying, and I also read your 100th blog.
Ah, well, good. Yeah, I think there's about 102 now, but it's such a labor of love. I really just love it so much.
That's great. Well, Tracy, as always, it's a pleasure having you on. It is always fun to see what you're up to, and we always give you somebody to kind of listen to and see what you think. So today, it was Leslie. But hey, good luck on your England seminar. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and are you doing any other seminars around?
Coming.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Leslie.
Well, that's the goal, Rick, is that I really want to start going live again.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to start, not that I don't love the online work, I do, but I really want to do 3-day workshops and day-long workshops. And so I am going to bust some of those out here in Southern California and see how it goes. So I'm in the stages of putting it all together, but I've got this business partner in the UK, and part of what's driving the UK thing is that I have so many clients there right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's go traveling.
And it's sort of funny because we would think anybody in the UK all sound great.
I know,
Because,
right?
like, everybody said, I'm Bond, James Bond.
That's right.
And immediately everybody goes, wow, what a British accent. We love you. But anyway.
What can I say, my dear?
My dear.
It's so true. I have a friend in Texas who married a man from the UK, and she said, "So I got to go get some money for the cashier for the parking and she ain't gonna give it to me. You go, she'll give it. You can get anything you want in this whole state. You can get anything you want.
Did it work?
He went, of course. She handed him the money.
Hello,
it's
I'm
like
Bond.
sign.
It's
No
all
change
right.
for
I
parking.
won't get into broad Glasgow, because I can also talk broad Glasgow if you really want me to, Hen.
Oh, and see, I love it. I love that. I think it's beautiful.
Well, Tracy, hey, we love having you on, hearing how you're doing, and just seeing you again. It's always a pleasure. And keep us in tune. If you have any announcements you want to make, just let me know. We'll put them up on the show.
I will. Well, it's always good to see you. I'm so glad.
Lovely to meet you, Tracy. And I would
Yes.
love to put you in touch with Joe Cook. And please, we'll exchange emails, because I genuinely think that the way you use your voice is something that is so important.
And by the way, not only is it important, we are now taking these shows and making audio out of them as well, audio-only podcasts. So we've got the video shows, but we're also putting up on iTunes under Relaycast. Under Relaycast, there are all the shows. So we're starting to put them up as of about yesterday. So we've got like 6 or 7 up.
I wonder if you
Only
were
yesterday,
doing that.
Rick.
I'm sorry?
Only yesterday.
Only yesterday. People have only been asking for years.
There's a
get to it
song.
eventually.
There's a song there.
Yeah. And she's right next to me. But lean in. This is Janessa. She's the one who's been working on all the audio podcasts, and she's our producer on the shows.
Oh, hi, Janessa. Yeah, well, that's cool. I wondered if you were doing a podcast.
We are now.
So-
It took a long time, but we finally did it.
Yeah.
And Janessa's putting them up and audio editing and everything. So we're having a good time.
Oh, yeah, that's so great. That's so great. Well, it's always good to come on the show. Thank you so much for inviting me. And
Thanks
Leslie, so wonderful to meet you. And I will definitely reach out and get in touch.
Yeah, if
So-
anybody wants to get a hold of you,
Thank you so much. I would appreciate that.
and if
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
wants to get a hold of you, captivatingtheroom.com, place to reach you, right?
That CaptivateTheRoom.com.
Captivate. I'm sorry.
the Room.
What did I get
That's
captivating?
Okay. That's okay.
Captivate the room. I used to have
That's
a
all right.
podcast named Captivating. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm having
Maybe.
flashbacks.
Maybe.
CaptivateTheRoom.com.
Well, I have to be careful when I type it into the phone, because sometimes if I don't pay attention, it says capture.
Capture the room.
And I don't want to capture the
Well, you could
people. I
capture the
just
room, but
wanna
it implies
captivate
that
them.
implies violence. So okay, you can't
I
move.
know,
None of you
right?
move.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, let's not go there. Anyway, have a good one, everyone. Thanks for watching the show. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next week on eLearnChat.
Guys.
Thanks again, Tracy. Thanks,
Okay.
Leslie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.